Minority and human rights experts came to Budapest, Hungary in October 2015 to discuss the importance of anti-discrimination legislation in the Eastern Partnership and the Visegrád countries. The conference was organized by the Eastern Partnership Minorities Network and Minority Rights Group Europe. Participants say anti-discrimination legislation is of utmost importance to protect the rights of minorities and other vulnerable groups. The Eastern Partnership Minorities Network builds the capacity of minority organizations and develops a network of activists across Azerbaijan, Armenia, Belarus, Georgia, Moldova and Ukraine. So far we unite about 80 minority organizations and civil society leaders.
It is of utmost importance to have the grounds of race and ethnicity protected under the national legislation, since in many societies ethnic minorities tend to be the target of attacks or the target of hate speech and other forms of discrimination.
The main importance that anti-discrimination legislation gave us a possibility, first of all, to bring individual cases when discrimination already happens, and the second important thing, anti-discrimination legislation establishes a framework for positive actions, or affirmative actions as we call them, because for many years we had a very, very vague framework law on national minorities, and the law was about nothing and nothing happened. All the state did for national minorities or ethnic minorities was dancing and festivals. So now having anti-discrimination legislation, having precise statements, what is discrimination, who should not discriminate, what to do if you've been discriminated. We also have this broader framework with a clear set of responsibilities for state actors, what they should bring now in terms of policies to improve the situation of different discriminated groups, among them ethnic and religious minorities.
These groups equally are in worse position without legislation than they are with. Unfortunately, it's not always that these groups champion the fight for anti-discrimination legislation for a number of reasons, but primarily I think for the reason that the grounds are so politicized, and the groups are often not encouraged and not willing to get into that anti-discrimination fight, because it's portrayed as, no, it's not about ethnic minorities, it's not about disability, it's about LGBT, and basically in fighting for that legislation, you basically fighting for LGBT groups, full stop. And then that means you're fighting against our national interests. Then that means you're fighting against national values. So for many of these reasons, disability groups, ethnic minorities, I think, are not getting into forefront of the fight.
We have some cases and we have some examples how people defended themselves in the courts, and we have some successful cases. It is very important for us as an organization that works with public opinion, with media, with journalists. It's very important to promote those cases and to show people that they can go to court and they can have some justice and satisfaction in court. So we try to promote it and to raise awareness among the general population about this new legislation. But it is difficult to work because people in general, they don't know what discrimination is.
I think anti-discrimination law should pursue the elimination of discrimination in European country. It should be the hope for the vulnerable people who need the protection and who need the equal treatment and who needs that their dignity should be respected equally as the else of the population. And I think this must be the effective, first of all, if you evaluate certain institution that strives for equality, for elimination, all forms of discrimination. The basis of this evaluation should be the effectiveness of this particular institution. without, for example, using punitive measures against discriminators. It's not really anti-discrimination mechanism. It's just somehow good wishes. It's an institution for good wishes, but not any practical mean at all.
Ezeknek a szervezeteknek, akik vizsgálják a diszkriminációs szabályok betartását, ugye két fajtájuk van. Az egyik, amelyik tud jogilag kötelező erejű szankciókat hozni, a másik pedig csak ilyen úgynevezett ilyen soft szankciókat tud hozni. Magyarországon az egyenlő bánásmódhatóság az nagyon kemény szankciókat hozhat, és ez egyrészt kevesebb az a fajta szervezet, amelyik ilyen erős jogosítványokkal bír, és ez én azt gondolom, hogy meglátszik az egyenlő bánásmódhatóságnak a reputációjában is, tehát nagyon komolyan veszik azok, akik ellen eljárás indul, hogyha egy egyenlő bánásmód hatósági eljárásba kerülnek, pontosan azért, mert nagyon komoly következményei lehetnek.
We have had a very specific problem with discrimination of Romani minority, especially in cases of education. And definitely the progress would be such that at least people are quite aware that it's unlawful to discriminate. They know it's something that you shouldn't do, but at the same time, sometimes it means that the discrimination is there, but it's only hidden. So it means that it's harder to address. And usually, I would say the discrimination against minorities is indirect discrimination, not a direct one, but the indirect discrimination, the systemic discrimination, and we have still been struggling with this a lot. But the public awareness that you cannot directly discriminate, it was a very important step. And of course, in the case of Romani children discrimination in education, many steps have been taken that were very important. We keep amending the School Act, we keep continuing in the school reform, so lower and lower number of Romani children are segregated in schools. The progress is slow, but it is there.
Государство должно закрепить конкретные нормы, которые позволяют и религиозным организациям, и национальным меньшинствам реализовывать свои права. Помимо закона должны быть созданы какие-то специальные механизмы, которые будут способствовать тому, чтобы закон выполнялся.
Discrimination as such is a phenomenon that has devastating effects for the social cohesion, development of the social capital, and also for the economy of a country, because when some groups are being the target of discrimination or the victims of discrimination, they will not fully participate, and consequently this means less persons employed, this means less persons as less voters, and so forth and so forth. Therefore, I reiterate that non-discrimination is good for ensuring sustainable and democratic societies.